A man rushed over to deliver news. Director Wu, there is something wrong with this boat. The boat has changed direction. Upon hearing this, Wen Shu was shocked. Why is that? It was fine. Why did it change direction? Who dares to do such a thing? Xiao Nan calmly replied, It's Lin Qi. Her expression became serious as she continued, He was dismissed by you, so he ordered the boat to turn back. Hearing this, Wen Shu seemed incredulous and stammered. How does he have the right to order the boat to turn back? Xiao Yan cast a glance at Wu Wen Shu, her eyes full of disappointment. Because this boat belongs to Lin Qi. Wu Wen Shu was now terrified, her face pale. What? What did you say? This boat belongs to Lin Qi. Xiao Yan responded. That's right. He is not only a famous streamer online, but also the owner of Wangjiang Dock. If he hadn't participated in this game show, they wouldn't have agreed to rent the boat at all. The fee wouldn't even cover the gas. Wu Wen Shu realized the severity of the situation. But a contract was signed before. If we violate the contract, we have to pay 3 times the amount. Xiao Yan replied with an indifferent expression. 3 times? Do you think he can afford it? Now the boat has changed direction, and the game show cannot proceed temporarily. Therefore, you should go apologize. Wu Wen Shu is still very worried. Xiao Yan, the two of you have a good relationship. Go tell them not to sail back. Otherwise, I will expel you. Xiao Yan turned back and shot a cold glance. Whether you expel me or not, I still can't stop this. But if the game show doesn't fill on schedule, that's your fault. Wu Wen Shu looked up at the ceiling, his face full of fear, his bloodshot eyes clearly showing veins. He chased after Xiao Yan and said, Don't go. Which room is Lin Qi in? I will go find him. Xiao Yan looked up. Room 999. Wu Wen Shu, appearing meek, approached Lin Qi's room. Mr. Lin, sorry to bother you. Lin Qi stepped out and said, what do you want from me? Wu Wen Shu replied, Boss Lin, I was wrong earlier. Please don't pay attention to me. He said anxiously, Isn't our relationship a partnership? You can't unilaterally terminate the contract. Lin Qi put his hand on his neck and coldly said, I'm just sitting on my boat to go home. What does this have to do with breaching the contract? Wu Wen Shu panicked. Boss Lin, I know I was wrong. I was talking nonsense earlier. Just compete normally, and when we get to the island, I will tell the team to pay more attention to you, protect your boat, and help you achieve good results. Lin Qi walked into the room and prepared to close the door. That's unnecessary. I prefer to speak based on strength. Don't bother me anymore. Just go back. Wu Wen Shu tried to catch the door, his face looking as if he was about to cry. What about changing the course of the boat? Lin Qi closed the door and said coldly, I will arrange that. Wu Wen Shu was startled. In a hotel corridor, Wu Wen Shu was walking alone after the conversation with Lin Qi. He mumbled, I really stirred up a hornet's nest. Wu Wen Shu suddenly saw Tony icing his face. He approached to say hello. Tony. Tony turned around, his face full of anger. You have to handle that man named Lin Qi well. Wu Wen Shu placed his hand on his chest. I just thought about it again. My previous approach was a bit off. One should be generous. It's not necessary to make a fuss over this. Tony responded angrily. Director Wu, what do you mean? Should we just leave it at that? Wu Wen Shu waved his hand. I have other matters to attend to, so I'll go ahead. See you later. Tony threw the ice bag to the ground, his face filled with anger and indignation. He really thinks too highly of himself, has some achievements, and considers himself a god. Lai Chengxing was sitting in a chair. Hearing footsteps approaching, he wondered, What happened to your face? Tony replied with an angry expression. Wu Wen Shu can't handle that person, and furthermore, he agreed to let him participate in the game show. Lai Chengxing rested his chin on his hand, looking thoughtful. You know that person is a streamer. The director must be afraid of dealing with trouble when we return, so he doesn't dare to act strongly. There are many people like that on the boat. We can find a few to teach him a lesson he won't forget. Tony agreed with Lai Chengxing's opinion. Right. Let's quickly find out if anyone wants to take on this task. It was now dark, and the sea was only illuminated by the sparkling lights of the large ship. Lin Qi was standing on the deck, admiring the surrounding scenery. A girl approached. Mr. Lin, have you been disqualified? Zhao Yinian, with her beautiful appearance, walked up to Lin Qi. Lin Qi replied, Not at all, I'm still fine. Who are you? Zhao Yinian wiped her tears, looking pitiful. My name is Zhao Yinian, an actress from the same company as Lai Chengxing. The company decided to find some people to take him to this game show, but they rejected me because I'm a girl and didn't want to take me along. Lin Qi said, Your company is too unreasonable. Why rely on the strong to oppress the weak like that? Zhao Yinian unexpectedly cheered up. I want to ask if you found a team yet. Can you take me with you? Lin Qi responded, No. Lin Ke said something that left Zhao Yinian confused. You're too weak. Zhao Yinian looked at Lin Ke with a puzzled expression, holding onto his hand in an attempt to persuade him. Don't go. Just because I look thin doesn't mean I can't catch up with you. Can you take me with you? Lin Ke gently released Zhao Yinian's hand and calmly replied, training normally is different from surviving in the wild. Go find someone else. Lin Ke walked away, completely indifferent to Zhao Yinian's feelings. She lowered her head with a sad gaze, seemingly blaming herself. At Lin Ke's room door, someone successfully swiped their card and unlocked the door. The door slowly opened and a group of strangers rushed into Lin Ke's room. One of them noticed something unusual and the person in the gray outfit said, "Where did he go?" The person in the white outfit wondered, "Why does this room feel so strange? It's much nicer than ours. All the furniture is still intact." The person in white rested their chin on their hand, looking thoughtful. "Is the script team biased?" The person in gray replied, "Compared to us, he is definitely special. After all, he received a personal invitation." The gray-clad person turned back. "Wait, it seems someone is coming." Footsteps approached and Lin Ke appeared. "Since everyone has come, please stay and play for a while. There haven't been so many guests here for a long time." A group of strangers immediately looked at Lin Ke and laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha, are you surprised? We want to teach you a lesson. You have to kneel down and apologize, take off all your clothes, and roll from inside out. If we fight you alone, we will definitely win." Lin Ke calmly responded, "That sounds like fun, right?" After saying that, Lin Ke suddenly stomped his foot and charged at one person in the group. He threw a direct punch to the jaw of the opponent. The person who was hit shouted, "You dared to sneak attack." Lin Ke replied, "Is this what you call a sneak attack?" Immediately, he kicked another person in the face from behind and said, "That this time I will fight brightly and righteously." The person in blue lay on the floor after the fight with Lin Ke. The person in white was very worried. "Mr. Lin, can we talk it out? We know we were wrong." Lin Ke approached, wearing a terrifying smile. "If apologies worked, wouldn't my fighting skills be wasted?" The person in white was knocked out of the room. Lin Ke was dragging the person in blue outside, his clothes covered in blood after the fight. At this moment, Xiao Yan was working in his office when he heard a knock on the door. Lin Ke was standing right at the door. Xiao Yan asked, "Why are you here?" Lin Ke replied, "A few idiots came and caused trouble at your place, so I punched them. Now the whole room is covered in blood. It's uninhabitable." Xiao Yan asked, "What happened? Tell me, who are they? I will go revoke their participation immediately." Lin Ke took a towel. "It's just kids. There's no need to take it seriously. They don't pose any threat." Xiao Yan helped Lin Ke take off his coat. "Do you need me to get the bathwater ready for you?" Lin Ke simply picked Xiao Yan up. "Together?" Xiao Yan panicked. "Ayu, put me down. I'm embarrassed. What do you mean together?" Lin Ke carried Xiao Yan into the bathroom, laughing. "Why not?" Meanwhile, in room 4018, two other people were sitting inside. The atmosphere was very tense. John asked, "What did the other side say?" Owen replied, "This time the target is Lin Ke, a Huaxinga person. The other side demands to capture him alive and bring him back to their country. If that can't be done, they want him killed on the island, not allowing him to return to Huaxia. The reward is $4 million. John responded, "Then I'll go prepare. We might be heading to the island soon." At 4 a.m., the boat was still drifting on the sea. The players noticed the side of the boat and prepared the lifeboats to head to the island. At this moment, Xiao Yan jolted awake. "Get up quickly, we're getting ready to go to the island." Lin Ke had also just woken up. "How did you guys choose this timing? You didn't even let anyone sleep peacefully for a bit more." Xiao Yan hurriedly grabbed clothes for Lin Ke. "If a game show wants to be attractive, it must always be different. Come on, wake up, or you won't get the boat. Let me see how you get to the island." Lin Ke replied, "The whole starfish boat belongs to me. Just tell the captain to take us there." Xiao Yan and Lin Ke stepped outside. "Quickly, this won't do. It's against the rules." Lin Ke replied, all right, no need to rush." He said with a confident expression, "It's only 1 nautical mile. Worst case, we'll just swim over." Xiao Yan protested, "Are you crazy? Aren't you afraid of getting eaten by a shark?" At the dock, people were waiting for their turn to set sail. Lin Ke walked slowly toward the designated spot. As he walked, he mumbled, "These useless folks are surprisingly fast. I wouldn't have expected to get cursed at one day." Upon arriving, he was immediately scolded by a white-haired man. "Mr. Lin, you're really late." Facing the scolding, Lin Ke just scratched his head and smiled, replying, "Sorry, I woke up late." He brushed it off. The pink-haired person, seeing the tense atmosphere between the two men, tried to lighten the mood by changing the subject. "That's all right since you're here. Let's get ready." Meanwhile, at the dock, there was a girl standing all alone, anxiously looking around. Seeing this, Lin Ki couldn't help but ponder. Being naturally fond of girls, he took the initiative to speak. Hey, come with us. I'll take you to the island. The girl was very touched to hear this, tears welling up in her eyes. Really, really? Okay. Do you really agree to take me with you? Then she repeatedly bent down to thank Lin Ki for his kindness. I thought I had to go back for good. However, things were going smoothly. The white-haired man was furious at Lin Ki's arrogant attitude, disregarding anyone's opinions, showing his anger. What is this person doing here? Is this your boat? How can you take someone on board like that? It's going to slow us down. The girl was momentarily shocked and felt a bit offended upon hearing that. Lin Ki, with the aura of a main character, stood tall and smiled. It's just one more person. It's not a big deal. The white-haired man was so angry he felt like smoke would billow from his head at Lin Ki's response. He was about to curse, and just as he was about to say, "You," he was stopped by the pink-haired girl. The pink-haired girl was equally indignant at Lin Ki's audacity, but replied with a calmer attitude. Mr. Lin, under the condition that the schedule is not affected, I don't mind your good deed. However, the boat has a weight limit, and having 4 people on board might not be feasible. Lin Ki was perhaps used to being scolded and had a thick skin, stubbornly insisting, "It's fine, I'll just find another boat." The platinum-haired girl felt a little guilty that everyone was being affected because of her, but there were only 50 lifeboats and all had been taken already. Lin Ki now realized that the situation seemed worse than he had imagined, but then he glanced around and discovered that there was still a boat, although it had been taken by 2 dark-skinned men. When these 2 men saw Lin Ki, they suddenly became frightened, their faces pale, stuttering. It's you." Lin Ki flashed a cheerful, sunny smile and began to entice them. "It's very dangerous on the island. Who knows what might happen?" Then he immediately switched to a threatening tone. "For your safety, I think you 2 don't need to go anymore. Go back and rest." The 2 men, terrified, quickly ran away. Yes, we'll listen to you. We won't go to the island anymore." They left the boat they had just taken for Lin Ki's team. The white-haired and pink-haired ones stood there with their mouths agape, not understanding what was happening. Just then, the loudspeaker rang out with a woman's voice reminding everyone, "Those who have secured a lifeboat, come to collect equipment for the island." Lin Ki gallantly handed the equipment bag to the blonde girl. "Here you go, take this." She was shy at his kind treatment and nodded, but as she reached out to take the bag, he let go of the strap before she could grasp it, causing her to hurriedly catch it without being ready for its weight. She bent down, holding a heavy backpack, exclaiming, "It's so heavy." Lin Ki, who had just been smiling comfortably moments ago, now spoke in a cold tone. "If not, then what? Do you think we're here to sightsee?" The tour guide from earlier raised her voice to announce, "Now everyone, please choose the correct route to the destination. I declare filming begins." The platinum-haired girl eagerly asked, "When do we depart? If we don't hurry, we'll fall behind." Lin Ki was ready to respond immediately. "Now." Then he stepped onto the railing, jumped up for momentum. With the aura of the main character, nothing was impossible. He landed perfectly on the lifeboat with just a few jumps. The girl watched him, her eyes shining with admiration. While she was lost in his brilliance, Lin Ki urged her impatiently. "What are you thinking? Hurry up and get down here." The platinum-haired girl, being delicate and timid, only dared to climb down the rope ladder step by step, fearing she might slip. His urging only made her more anxious. "Don't rush me. I must go slow." Lin Ki, not afraid of heights, could not understand her fear. Puzzled, he asked, "Why are you taking so long up there? Just come down." Lin Ki seemed urgent. "Just jump down, I'll catch you." The girl was terrified hanging in the air like that, torn between wanting to comply and wanting to resist. But her heart won, her reason blinded by his brilliance, so she placed all of her trust in him. She took a leap of faith and let go, jumping from that height. But who would have thought? She was so scared that she jumped randomly, eyes tightly closed. Lin Ki was completely taken aback by this situation, as he did not expect her to be such a pretty girl with such a foolish mind. Look carefully before jumping, he thought to himself, trying his best to reach out to catch her, but unfortunately, he missed. She fell straight into the water. Xiao Yan on the boat thought to himself, did he trick another woman again? Lin Ki exerted all of his effort to pull the girl onto the boat. Both of them lay there, panting heavily. Lin Ki irritably cursed, "You're too heavy." Zhao Yinian exclaimed in panic, "My makeup got washed off." "Ah, my makeup." Lin Ki was speechless. "We're about to die, and you're worried about your makeup. I'm not afraid of anything, and yet I'm about to be ruined by you." Yinian hurriedly took out her makeup to touch it up. Lin Ki curiously asked, "Are you here for a dating show or a survival show and still worried about your makeup?" Zhao Yinian turned back and reproached, "You're really not warm at all." Lin Ki replied, "You've underestimated me too much. The two boats floated on the sea with an island in front of them. The island looked very majestic, and they had all set foot there. Li Jiani called out, "Mr. Lin, let's check the map and plan our route. This island is so desolate. We need to be a little careful." Lin Ke agreed, "All right, let's research first. I'll start a fire." He took out 2 flint stones and successfully kindled a bright red fire. Then Lin Ke took off his shirt, revealing his strong 6-pack abs. Zhao Yinian looked at him with sparkling eyes. "You have a really good physique. Some male stars in the entertainment industry can't compare to you." Lin Ke felt shy. Is that so? Meanwhile, Li Jiani, standing behind, thought, "This man's body is really reliable." After drying off, Lin Ke put his shirt back on and asked Jian, "Had you found the way?" Li Jiani replied, "There are 3 paths, quite close, but all are blocked off. So we have to find another route. This route may not be close, but it's quite safe." Lin Ke said, "Let's go around this place." Huang Wenheng encountered, "That area is marked clearly. It definitely won't be passable just by going around. There must be dangers nearby." Lin Ke quickly analyzed, typically such swampy areas usually only have crocodiles. It shouldn't be a big problem. The other 3 were left speechless by Lin Ke's words. Zhao Yinian cried, "There are crocodiles and you say it's not a problem. They eat people." Lin Ke laughed cheerfully. "It's fine, I can run fast." Li Jiani could only say, "I don't want to die yet." Huang Wenheng looked annoyed. "We are the main force of this action. I am a wildlife survival expert, and I must provide a reasonable route, minimizing danger to the lowest level, not just talking big. If this continues, you will be a burden to us." Jiani interjected, "All right, Mr. Lin, that place is too dangerous. To ensure safety, I cannot agree to it." Lin Ke refused to cooperate. "There's no choice. We'll just have to split up when the time comes." Li Jiani was taken aback by his response, and she sighed in frustration. Jiani analyzed. "A map shows that this route overlaps. We can travel together for a while, then split up." Lin Ke nodded. "Then let's decide that way." At that moment, the cameraman called out, "Lin Ke, wait, are you really planning to go to the swamp?" Lin Ke replied, "Yes." The cameraman worriedly said, "But I'm your cameraman. I'm not brave enough to go." Lin Ke bent down to grab his backpack. "Here's the deal. During the safe stretch ahead, you follow me. When it gets dangerous, I'll go alone." Lin Ke put on his backpack and said, "When it gets dangerous, you don't have to follow me anymore." The cameraman was startled. "No way. The important mission is to stay close to you. You have good skills. You're very valuable." Lin Ke felt helpless. She really is. Then he took a step forward and said to the cameraman, "In any case, I've made my decision. If you're not afraid of dying, then follow me." The cameraman exclaimed in shock, "What's happening?" The sunlight filtered through the tree branches. Lin Ke said, "I think it's fine. We should get going." Zhao Yinian excitedly replied, "Let's head off to the island." On the way, a chameleon was basking in the sun. Lin Ke and his friends continued to explore the island. He and Wenheng were also carrying a knife. Behind a rock, 2 people were plotting a plan. One person said, "We'll follow them. Wait until they're in a secluded place, then we will rob them." The cameraman was filming their journey. The blonde-haired man asked the person next to him, "Is everything packed up?" The other person replied, "It's all ready. Once we go a bit deeper, we'll shake off those behind us. That way, no one will know." However, the other person complained, "It's just that the weapon isn't very handy." The blonde-haired man said, "There are many people with him. If we can't find a chance to survive, then we'll kill him." The other person nodded, "I understand." Meanwhile, the 4 members of Lin Ke's group continued on their journey, treading carefully. Suddenly, Zhao Yinian shouted, "Ah!" Lin Ke turned back and asked, "What's wrong?" Yinian, frightened, said, "There's a big spider on the tree, bigger than my hand." Lin Ke advised, "Protect yourself well. Cover everything except your eyes. If you get bitten by insects, no one can handle it." Li Jiani worriedly asked, "Lin Ke, should we speed up? I always feel like danger is lurking around us." Wenheng also agreed, "I think so too. There might be snakes ahead, so it's better to be a bit cautious." Lin Ke remained calm. "Don't worry, even if there are snakes, they aren't venomous. Just be careful not to let insects fall on you." Wenheng was worried. "How can you be so sure? What if a wild animal suddenly jumps out?" Lin Ke explained, "This is a deserted island. The presence of crocodiles is already a great favor from nature. Are you imagining something out of a novel, like a man-eating beast suddenly appearing? Isn't that silly?" Wenheng retorted angrily, "You're the silly one." Yinian interjected, "All right, let's not argue. From a biological perspective, the chains of organisms and plants originate from the jungle. Lower creatures usually operate outside their ranges." Lin Ke was surprised. "You know quite a bit, don't you?" Yinian laughed happily. Lin Ke continued, "This habit is similar to humans. The wealthy stay in hotels while the poor are out in the garbage. It's really just the same logic. Suddenly, Lin Ki noticed something. Wait, there's something. The sound of footsteps was approaching. A long-haired man appeared and said, "What a coincidence! In such a large place, we've eat like this." Yi Nian greeted, "Lai Shengxing, you guys have arrived too." Shengxing said, "I have something to discuss with everyone. Our supplies are limited and your team has 2 women. Could you share some with us?" Yi Nian was confused. What? Lin Ki smiled lightly. "I see that the 4 of you can survive just by drinking the northwestern wind. You basically don't need any supplies." The guy with spiked hair was annoyed. "What do you mean? We came to negotiate with you. Why are you insulting us?" Lin Ki was resolute. "Insulting is putting it lightly. Get lost and out of my sight." The other person was angry. "I don't want to let you go, unless you give us supplies. Although this is a game show, at its core, it's about survival on a deserted island. So robbing supplies is one of the plot points of the program." Lin Ki was surprised. "What is this? Great. Are you guys setting a trap for me?" He continued, "If I rob you of your supplies, I won't have to worry about supplies for half a month." Li Jiani and Huang Wenheng got into a fighting stance. Jianai said, "You 2 step back." Wenheng was furious. "This guy not only can't help, but is adding to our troubles." Suddenly, a helicopter appeared above. Out at sea, a large boat was also moving towards them. All of this was equipment from the show used to monitor everyone's journey. A staff member rushed in to report, "Xiao Yan, it's not good. That guy named Lin Ki wants to fight with someone." Xiao Yan was startled. "Is it about robbing supplies?" Everyone was watching the situation, including Tony beside them. Xiao Yan was also focused. Tony said to Xiao Yan, "Miss Yan, your person seems a bit dangerous." Xiao Yan replied, "Lai Shengxing joined this game show for a purpose. You and I both know that well. If possible, I hope your people keep a distance from him. Otherwise, the day of elimination won't be far off." Tony laughed mockingly. "Ha ha ha. Are you talking about Lin Ki or my Lai Shengxing? What you're saying is too much. I know the relationship between you and Lin Ki, but you can't go to such lengths to protect your friend, can you? Remember that you are the director of the game show. What you're doing is against the rules." Xiao Yan insisted, "If you don't believe me, there's nothing I can do." On the island, the guy with the spiky hair was preparing to charge at Jian Ni. "Ha ha ha, you guys are all full of bravado, but I wonder if you can hold on." He rushed to punch Jian Ni, but missed. Then Jian Ni kneed him in the stomach, sending him flying into a tree, crashing painfully. Zhao Yinian was surprised. "Oh my!" The spiky-haired guy immediately called his teammates. "Meng, go for it." They rushed in to fight Jian Ni and Wenheng. Jian Ni punched one person. Wenheng punched another. Jian Ni landed another punch, while Wenheng kicked down a different opponent. Then, the spiky-haired guy knelt down and pleaded, "Boss, I was wrong. Please forgive me." Tony was left speechless in shock. Xiao Yan said, "Now you guys prepare to take them back. There will be no more competition for the rest of the game show." Lin Ki's group demanded that the others leave their things and exit the game show. But another group of people appeared. Wait, 2 tall and muscular young men stepped forward. One said, "We still don't know whose things will end up where." Wenheng felt helpless. "Are you also here to rob?" The white-haired guy rushed forward. "Stop talking. If you don't want to get beaten, hand over the supplies." Wenheng angrily punched him. "Stop causing trouble." But he managed to block Wenheng's punch. Then he hit Wenheng back in the face and cursed. "Huoxia people can't do anything." Jian couldn't fight back against the guy with the ponytail either. He hit Jian in the face. But someone piped up and said, "That's enough." A pair of legs and green shoes lifted up. The ponytail guy was surprised. He was kicked, but managed to block it. But before he could finish speaking, he was kicked in the face. It was Lin Ki. He kicked that guy away. Jian was confused behind him. How is this possible? The white-haired guy's mouth fell open. With just one blow, and Lin Ki didn't even use his full strength. He helped his companion leave. "Today's incident, we admit defeat. Let's go." Lin Ki turned back to ask the original group, "Are you all okay?" They quickly ran away. Lin Ki checked their supplies. "These items aren't bad." Jian asked, "Who are you? How can you be so skilled?" Lin Ki cheekily replied, "Maybe I've eaten a lot of my mom's cooking." From behind, Yinian shouted, "There's a snake over there. Run, it's venomous." A giant snake appeared. Lin Ki picked up a knife and said, "No need to run. We'll have snake meat tonight." The cameraman panicked. "Lin, are you sure that snake can be eaten?" Lin Ki's gaze was sharp. "Of course, I've been eating dry rations every day. I'm itching all over. All right, you all step back. I'll handle it." But Yinian still stood there. Lin Ki asked, "Why don't you step back? Aren't you afraid of dying?" Lai Nan said, I feel like this snake looks somewhat familiar. Lin Ki wondered, familiar? Blaney replied, I didn't mean that. This species of snake, I think I've seen it before. I graduated from university with a major in biology, and then I became an actress. So I've seen specimens of this snake. I believe its name is a rock python, and it's not venomous. Lin Ki admired. You are impressive. You have some useful knowledge. Edian continued, but the strength of this python is very powerful. If you get wrapped up by it, you could suffocate. Lin Ki picked up a knife. Then you stand aside and watch me show you what a master is like. He threw the knife and hit the python's neck. It immediately lost its ability to live and fell heavily to the ground, shocking everyone. Yin rejoiced. The book says this species of snake can grow up to 1.8 meters, but this one must be 2.1 meters. It should be taken to the Biology Research Institute. That would also count as a contribution to biology. Lin Ki thought, this is related to the ecosystem here. The high nutrient content causes animals to grow larger. Jian, sweating in fear, said, another snake is coming. There's a marsh ahead. We can't continue together. Lin, are you really planning to go into the marsh? Don't you want to change direction? Lin Ki was resolute. Then we can only split into two paths. Jian shook hands with Lin Ki. I can go with you on this segment. We are very happy. I hope to see you again later. Lin Ki turned to Yi Nian. You can go with them. If at any point you feel you can't continue, just leave the group. Don't push yourself. The mischievous cameraman asked, can I go with them then? Lin Ki replied, you can't. You still have to capture my heroic moments. Whether I can get through this circle or not depends on you. Yi Nian cheerfully said, I still want to go with you. Lin Ki added, going with me is fine, but I need to make one thing clear. If I see that you can't continue, you must give up immediately. No excuses. Can you do that? Yi Nian agreed, sure. Lin Ki waved goodbye. See you later. They split into two paths. Jian watched with admiration. Getting through the swamp can save 3 days. If he can make it through, he will be the champion. Lin Ki, Yi Nian, and the cameraman went one way. 2 people were monitoring every move of the team. The blonde one said, that kid is really brave daring to go into the swamp. Does he not know there are crocodiles there? The other replied, exactly. The dangerous terrain of the swamp makes it very easy for us to act. The cameraman called Lin Ki. Lin, Xiao Yan has something to say to you. Xiao Yan spoke over the radio. Earlier, we surveyed the swampy area. It was very dangerous. If possible, I hope you take a different route. Lin Ki replied, don't worry, it's fine. Wait for the show to heat up, and I hope you could become the head of the TV station. Clean yourself up and wait for me. The cameraman was confused. Yin Yin reminded, hey, cameraman, don't hear this part. Lin Ki said, let's go. Keep moving. Yin Yin asked, Lin, do you want to take the swamp route for better efficiency? Lin Ki answered, that's just part of it. Mainly, I want to save time to reach the destination in the shortest time and plant the Huaxia flag there. What about you? Why are you following me? I might leave you behind halfway through. He Nian replied, it's okay, I know my own abilities. Actually, it's enough for me to come this far with you, but I want to go further. The 3 of them were close to the swamp. The cameraman said, Lin, up ahead is the swamp. If we successfully get through this, it should be much safer. Yi Nian was a bit scared. Let's hurry, it's really cold here. Lin Ki said, I saw a shadow in the water earlier. It might be a crocodile. Yi Nian, frightened, moved closer to Lin Ki. Many bubbles rose up in the swamp and a crocodile was watching the 3 of them. Yi Nian yelled loudly, ah, crocodile. The crocodile lunged forward with its mouth wide open. Yi Nian, terrified, clutched Lin Ki's arm and shouted, crocodile, crocodile. The crocodile glared menacingly at its prey in front of it. Lin Ki said, everyone stand back a little. As he spoke, he drew out a short knife and calmly faced the crocodile. The cameraman was scared, his face pale, while Yi Nian was too worried to say a word. The ferocious crocodile crawled quickly on the ground, advancing towards Lin Ki, with its mouth wide open full of teeth. Yi Nian shouted, Lin, be careful. Unfazed, Lin Ki jumped high and thrust the knife straight into the crocodile's mouth, causing blood to splatter everywhere. He used his hands to pry open its jaws, putting all of his strength into it. A sphere emanated energy, providing him with strength. In no time, he tore the crocodile's mouth apart. Yi Nian and the cameraman were both astonished. She said, can you fight a crocodile barehanded? Is this something humans can do? Lin Ki skillfully twirled the short knife in his hand, then struck hard at the crocodile's head. When he no longer saw the crocodile resist, he pulled the knife out, wiped the sweat from his brow, and gasped. It's done. However, from behind, he discovered that there was an assassin. Lin Ki thought, this is not good, there is an assassin. He quickly dodged to the side, so he only got shot in the shoulder. He wondered, who is it? Two assassins hiding behind the bushes also disappeared. Yi Nian anxiously called out, Brother Lin. Meanwhile, the cameraman frantically called for help. Boss Lin, who had been shot, was lying on the ground. Yi Nian sat beside him and called out, Brother Lin. Cameraman. Both of them put down their cameras and sat to assess the situation. Lin Ki grimaced and said, Don't worry, I'm not going to die. At this moment, the program's helicopter arrived. A woman stepped down and said, Don't move. She came to Lin Ki's side to assess the situation and said, Let them help you check your wound. He gritted his teeth, sweating, and said, Everyone just help me detoxify and take the bullet out. That's enough. It's not a big problem. The staff member worriedly said, is this okay? 2 hours later, the bullet was removed. After bandaging the wound, Xiao Yan said, Now you need to come with me. You don't need to participate in the next competition. She added, I'll take you to the hospital for more professional treatment. Lin Ki replied, I'm not a child who doesn't know my own situation. He clenched his fists and said, If I don't find out who the two murderers are, then they'll do something to others. By then, this game show won't need to be filmed anymore. She still worriedly said, This has exceeded my control. Do you have any way to handle this? Or recently, have you had any enemies, anyone who wants to come and take revenge on you? Lin Ki said, The attacker very likely disguised himself. He put on his coat again and said they sneaked into the game show to get to the island, taking advantage of my moment of inattention to act. She was still not at ease and said, With your current state, you cannot continue filming. If the wound gets infected, it will be dangerous. Hurry back to me. He calmly said, This small wound is nothing. You don't need to worry like that. However, she remained concerned and said, Moreover, he did not let her finish, angrily saying, Leaving without returning is very rude. Lin Ki told her to leave the medicine for him, and the rest would continue filming as usual. Seeing him say that, she could only fall silent. She agreed and returned to the crew, the helicopter departing. At that moment, Yi Nian asked, Brother Lin, what do we do next? Lin Ki replied, Keep moving forward. I just have a temporary bandage, and I shouldn't engage in strenuous activities. I'm not disabled, so don't delay the work. 1 day later, Lin Ki happily said, We finally made it. This volcano is called Yunjiangshan, over 800 meters high, which isn't considered large. Yi Nian said, Although I relied on you to get here, I feel like I've made a lot of effort myself. Then the cameraman said, Brother Lin, my work is mostly completed. After we go up the mountain, everything will be handed over to the drone. Hearing a cameraman say that, Lin Ki waved and said, You've worked hard these past 2 days. Half an hour later, Lin Ki and Yi Nian were walking up the mountain. He asked Yi Nian, How do you feel? Yi Nian replied, I'm still fine, I can still persevere. She happily said, But it's strange, I actually wanted you to go ahead of me and climb slowly afterward. But I found that I'm not tired at all. Lin Ki said as he walked, I also feel extremely light. This place is a bit strange. I guess the air content here is higher than other places, which makes their heart and lung functions work harder than usual. He threw her a rope and said, Tie it like this, it will be safer. Then Yi Nian used the rope to follow Lin Ki up. She was tired and panting, sweat dripping profusely. She said, Lin, wait a moment, I want to take a break. Lin Ki turned back and said, Look, it's not far ahead. Suddenly he felt something unusual. He looked down at the stream below the cliff. Then Yi Nian pointed upward. What's happening? There are people on the mountain. 2 dark figures passed by above. Lin Ki immediately unhooked the rope, dashed forward, and said, Stay here for a moment, I'll go check. He stepped firmly on the rocks and jumped up to the peak where the strangers were standing. He saw 2 people dressed in black and wearing masks standing at the top. He asked, Who are you? They stared at him, laughing sinisterly. Then they quickly advanced to attack him. He swiftly used his fists to defend and said, I really like the kind of people who don't want to waste words and go straight in like you too. The man in black kicked a blow towards him. Boss Lin quickly lowered his body to dodge the attack. The other person immediately kicked him in the shoulder. At that moment, a helicopter appeared overhead. They thought, this kid's real strength is also quite strong. The 2 men in black jumped off the mountain. Lin Ki continued to shout, If I weren't injured, I wouldn't let you off. Then he opened his backpack and took out a flagpole. He confidently planted his country's flag on the mountain peak. The helicopter circled in the sky. He said to Xiao Yan, Did you investigate the cameras about those 2 stalkers? Have you found anything? Xiao Yan replied, I've got the information. I just received news that 2 people have quit and want to leave the program. Their traces can't be tracked in the surveillance system, and the cameraman couldn't keep up. Lin Ki said, I want to meet those 2. On the starfish ship offshore, 2 assassins were packing up in a room. The dark-haired man said, Having failed this time, we need to prepare for the next step to go to Shanghai. The red-haired man said, but I feel that next time we act, we won't have such a good opportunity again. He worriedly said, moreover, we have witnessed that person's real strength is not low. The man in black laughed and said, if it weren't so dangerous, his life wouldn't be worth so much. It seems we have to ambush from a distance. The red-haired man smiled in agreement. At that moment, there was a knock at the door. Then the door was suddenly kicked open. Lin Ke Warlike stood right in front of the room. The two assassins were surprised and worried as they said, oh shit. Lin Ke kicked the red-haired man away. He asked, who are you and where do you come from? I found out you are assassins from the underground network. The red-haired man pretended to say, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a regular cashier, not an assassin at all. Don't frame us. Lin Ke angrily shouted, I never act without evidence. I arrived here having investigated everything thoroughly. You better tell me who sent you here. Don't make me say more. The red-haired man pretended to be gentle and said, Mister, you really misunderstand. He signaled to his teammate behind him. Upon receiving the signal from the red-haired man, the black-haired man moved closer and opened the drawer of the table. While the red-haired man was stalling for time, he said, are we similar to the person you were looking for? However, Lin Ke had noticed and delivered a kick towards the black-haired man. The kick was swift and accurate, hitting the black-haired man's head. He grabbed his collar and said, trying to sneakily pull out a gun. This petty trick is rarely used. He threw the black-haired guy out the window and said, I'm here now. Do you really think I would give you a chance? Then he calmly sat down in the chair and asked, who sent you? He picked up the knife and said, this starfish ship is mine, so no matter what happens, no one is getting in. Lin Ke continued, you're not as lucky as him, because even if you want to die, you'll have to die in agony and torment. He grinned wickedly at the sharp knife. He said, unless you agree to reveal the mastermind behind this. The red-haired guy, terrified, said, person who contacted them is named Lucy. She's Andy's bodyguard and driver. Lin Ke asked again, who is Andy? The red-haired guy panicked. He's the CEO of Love and Error. He must have instructed Lucy to do this. He sighed and said, so it's about the 3.0 chip technology, right? At the end of the day, the dog bites the owner. If I die, I can't hand over the technology to the enemy. Lin Ke continued, I will arrange for some people to keep an eye on him. Xiao Yan said, I'll handle the rest. If you have something to do, go ahead. She worriedly added, make sure to go to the hospital to treat your wounds a bit. The helicopter flew back to Boss Lin's office building. King Ren was sitting in the office reviewing documents. At that moment, someone suddenly placed a cup of coffee in front of her. Boss Lin winked at her and said, take a break. King Ren happily hugged him and said, you're back. Lin Ke smiled happily and said, hey, be careful. He continued, this is a company, you need to pay attention to your image. King Ren nervously touched his shoulder and asked, what happened to your shoulder? He hurriedly changed the subject and said, it's nothing. But King Ren still noticed and said, something must be wrong, let me check. Then King Ren opened Lin Ke's suit jacket and saw that his shoulder was bandaged. King Ren panicked and asked, what happened? Why is your shoulder wrapped in bandages? He smiled awkwardly and said, it's just wilderness survival. I got a little injured while moving around, so I bandaged it. Lin Ke put his jacket back on and said, it's just a small thing, don't be so surprised. Actually, this little injury isn't pointless. No matter what, I still brought back the championship. After that, he hugged King Ren. Noticing that King Ren became silent, he gently called out, King Ren. With tears welling in her eyes, she said, it doesn't matter what day you come back, as long as you can come back safely. At that moment, someone knocked on the door. King Ren jumped and pulled away from Lin Ke, and she said, come in. Kai Xianzhao walked in with a stack of documents. Seeing Lin Ke, he cheerfully said, Boss Lin, you're back. Xianzhao continued, I was just looking for Boss Lady G, report some issues. It's great that you're here. Lin Ke sat in the chair and asked, how has the company been while I was away? Is there anything going on? He handed the documents to Lin Ke and reported, it's quite stable, especially in electronic and telecommunications equipment. It is ready to ship. However, the phone side hasn't made a decision yet. We'll have to wait for you on this. Lin Ke reviewed the documents. He asked, how is Long Xia doing? Is the stock still stable? Xianzhao replied with a smile, quite well. The stock price is rising. Then Lin Ke said, I have something for you to handle. Long Xia has developed the 3.0 chip code. Choose a day and spread this news. He continued, we need to create some buzz now. I want a promotion that tilts the sky and earth. Xianzhao promptly responded, a big matter like this could shock the entire industry. With this move, Long Xia can go international. After that, Lin Ke stood up and said, organize the company's matters. Negotiate carefully with boss Lady G. I have a few things to take care of. Xian Xiao nodded in compliance and said, Thank you, Boss Lin, for your trust. Fing Ren anxiously said, If you have time, go to the hospital for a checkup to see if there's anything serious. He chuckled maliciously and whispered to her, There's nothing wrong inside. Upon hearing this, King Ren blushed in embarrassment. At this moment, a helicopter flew towards the starfish ship. Boss Lin arrived at the room where the red-haired man was detained. He said, I'll be straightforward. If you really are an assassin, how much money would you need to kill Andy? He changed color and said, Oh my god, you want me to kill Andy? Do you even know what you are talking about? Boss Lin, you don't understand the wealthy class abroad. They spend billions of dollars a year to strengthen their own security. It's impossible for me to quietly kill him. Hearing this, Lin Qi directly said, Then go to the underground network and buy his life. The red-haired man warned Lin Qi, When you post that information, your information will be targeted. By the time they find out, you're already dead. Sitting down, Boss Lin said, If that's the case, it's not going to be easy. He silently said, I'm afraid I will have to do it myself. The red-haired man, hearing this, anxiously said, Although I have failed based on the fact that you have not tortured me and respected me, I advise you not to do anything foolish. If your company is still not as big as his, then this action is simply seeking death. Boss Lin said, I think they will soon know that this attempt has failed. They might send more assassins over. Lin Qi asked, Do you want me to just sit here and wait to die? He waved his hand and said, There's nothing else to do. That's how this world is. The big fish eat the small fish. Then Lin Qi suggested to the assassin, Don't go back to America anymore. Stay here with me. Hearing this, he was startled and said, I'm the assassin sent to kill you. Are you sure you want to keep me here? Lin Qi firmly replied, I just happen to need a servant beside me. Having you here would be perfect. He was taken aback by the response, but then bowed his head and said, Thank you. He continued, Actually, this mission has failed, and even if I go back, I won't have a way to survive. Then he seriously bowed his head to see Boss Lin out of the room. Xiao Yan worriedly asked, Will they still target you? Boss Lin confidently said, Of course. That's why I need to handle this matter before they act. The next day at the headquarters, Lin Qi was sitting in his office with his feet up on the desk. He was on the phone. The person on the other end said, You developed the 3.0 chip technology. Why didn't you let me know? I could have helped you out a bit. Boss Lin replied, You don't need to worry about this. Just sit back and enjoy the show. Let the public accounts and media take care of it. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Lin Qi said, Someone is here for you. Hang up for now. An employee entered with documents and reported to Boss Lin. Andy Alice is outside and wants to see you. He rested his chin on his hand, smiling smugly. Let her in. Andy walked in wearing blue high heels, smiling as she said, Boss Lin, long time no see. Lin politely replied, Please have a seat. It hasn't been that long. What brings you here, dragon visiting a shrimp? She laughed and went straight to the point. I feel we should discuss the 3.0 chip issue. He coldly responded, Were we done talking about that already? Is there more to say? She said, Of course there is. With Long Xiao's capabilities, it's completely impossible to utilize such advanced technology. If we could cooperate, it would absolutely benefit both sides. Boss Lin is an intelligent person. I'm sure you realize this. He said, Just like the last time we had a meal, didn't I already lay out the conditions? You agreed. She pleaded, We can't meet those conditions, but I'm here with sincerity. He coldly replied, Get out. No need for any sincerity here. Tell your father to speak to me directly, or else this afternoon I'll be meeting with that company. She stood up anxiously. Boss Lin, please listen to me. But he wouldn't let her finish, pointing directly at the door and angrily saying, Get out. She was surprised but agreed to leave. He contentedly leaned back in his chair, smiling as he thought, Now the initiative is in my hands. These fools dare to challenge someone who plays with hacks. They don't even consider their own strength. At that moment, someone called. He answered the phone and said, Mr. Andy, it's a pleasure to receive your call. He replied, Hello, Mr. Lin. I didn't expect you to guess who I am. We value this collaboration greatly and hope we can work together joyfully this time. He coldly responded, Whether the collaboration will be joyful or not, I don't know. A few days ago, I was filming a game show and got shot, so I've not been very happy lately. He pretended. Is that really what happened? That's truly frightening. The safety measures of the game show organizers are quite poor. He retorted, Who said that? The safety conditions in this city are not very good at all. I am indeed a bit scared. Your daughter cannot leave Zhonghai. Then he angrily shouted, If you dare to hurt my daughter, I will definitely not spare you. He replied, I'm done talking for today. If your daughter dares to step 1 foot into the airport, I assure you she won't be able to board the plane. Lin Qi challenged, Don't believe me? Go ahead and try. After that, he directly hung up the call. 10 minutes later, Chiam Sao walked into the room with some documents. He said, "Boss Lin, the people from an Aaron House A have contacted us and want to discuss collaboration regarding the 3.0 chip." Lin Ki read the documents and asked, "Who is in charge of these two companies?" Chiam Sao replied, "At first, it was said that they would send a vice president. But just now, Enter called to say that the CEO Andy is coming to Shanghai soon and wants to discuss the matter with them in person." He said, "Okay, I will handle Andy myself, and for Company A, Chiam Sao, Yun Yuan, and Tian Nian can go along." Chiam Sao said, "Boss Lin, the phone company needs to take action immediately." He placed the files on the table and said, "They held a meeting and came up with such proposals. Just right. I have some time to review them." Later that evening at the villa, Boss Lin took off his shoes and walked into the house. King Ren was sitting on the sofa, eating snacks happily, and said, "You are back." He said, "The new phone is about to be launched, but we haven't decided on a name yet." He sat down next to King Ren and said, "Help me think of something." King Ren cheerfully said, "How about calling it Moon 5? Lin Ki asked, "Moon 5? Why that name?" King Ren shyly replied, "Because we met in May, I feel that this name is very memorable." He patted her head affectionately and said, "Okay, let's go with that." Lin Ki and Jai King Ren sat on the sofa chatting with each other. At this point, Jai King Ren asked, "It seems that there are only a few days left until the new year. Do you have any plans?" Hearing this, he happily replied, "I will go back to the Welfare Institute a few days earlier, buy them some of your goods, and get some firecrackers. That should be good for the new year." Seeing the response was not what she expected, Jai King Ren dejectedly reminded him, "But this is the first New Year's Eve we are together. Don't you feel it's any different from previous years?" Upon saying this, Lin Ki began to sweat a little, but quickly he smiled and replied to her, "Of course, because heaven has brought something special to me. Not just special, since I met you, my world has become vibrant and colorful." However, it seemed that these words made her sit up dissatisfied and say, "Ha, you keep lying." Then she turned away and reminded him of their first meeting. "The first day we met was in the underground parking lot. You were so indifferent to me." Lin Ki must have forgotten, so when he heard this, he was a bit startled. It was then that he stood up, wrapped his arms around her waist, and said, "Wrong." Lin Ki suddenly hugged Jai King Ren unexpectedly. He spoke gently. "The first time we met was in the main lobby on the first floor of the company. I went to report to the HR department and saw you coming out of the elevator. At that moment, I was already attracted to you. You don't remember that? It's truly heartbreaking." Hearing her say that, she looked a bit confused and wondered, "Is that really how it was? Why don't I have any impression?" At this moment, Lin Ki wiped his fake tears, pretending to be wronged as he replied, "Because back then you didn't think much of me, and your heart was directed toward the moon. The moon doesn't pay attention to the gutter." On the surface, that's how it was, but deep inside, this guy was secretly laughing with delight, thinking, "You're right not to have any impression because that was made up by me." Afraid that her boyfriend would be upset, Jai King Ren gave him a kiss that made Lin Ki visibly happy. Then, immediately after, she acted cute and said, all right, I know I was wrong. Mr. Lin, can you forgive me this time?" Hearing this, Lin Ki playfully slapped her on the bottom and asked, "Will you dare to do it again next time?" Seeing this, King Ren flustered and replied, "I won't dare anymore. I won't dare anymore. Moreover, there won't be a next time. I'm going to take a shower now." Immediately after that, she ran off, leaving Lin Ki alone in the room. As soon as she left, the Lingwise system suddenly appeared right behind Lin Ki. She excitedly asked, "Master, can we open a new profession now?" Then a new position notification appeared in front of him. It said, "New profession, farmer. Please accept your reward, 1 million RMB along with fertile land." After reading this line, his expression changed as he could hardly believe his eyes. Who would have thought that one day the system would tell him to grow vegetables and raise fish? This made him a bit flustered. He scratched his head hesitantly and asked, "So this profession is about farming, huh?" Since it was clearly stated on the system board, Ling Wei did not refute it and replied, "That's right. Please accept your reward." Hearing this, he let out a sigh. Although he didn't want to at all, he had no choice but to respond with a look of frustration. He realized he had accepted this job. Ling Wei exclaimed joyfully, "Congratulations, master, on opening a new profession. 1 million RMB has been transferred to your account. The golden land is in the garage of Villa Number 1. A moment later, Lin Ki was at the garage of the villa. He walked around looking for where the golden land from the system was located. He mumbled to himself, "What kind of land is still gold? Then what should I plant? Buying land would be enough. This is the legendary land eating. It didn't take too long to find that item." Soon, he could see a box full of bags of soil nearby. He then took a small bag of soil from the box. After looking at it, he couldn't help but feel disappointed and said, "What gold is this? It's just real soil. How can a little like this be enough to plant? It could work for flowers." But suddenly he noticed a line of text on the bag. The golden land has been condensed and mixed with regular soil for use. After reading the instructions, he nodded and said, "Oh, so that's how it works." At this moment, Lin Ke's gaze suddenly shifted to another corner. It turned out that the box contained not only what was called golden land, but also a roll of paper and something placed underneath the bags of soil. He took out and opened the white roll of paper first. Inside the roll, there was indeed a land contract, clearly stating that Party A is Lin Ke and Party B is the Chai Hoan village in Saifang Town. According to the agreement between Party B and Party A on October 10, 2220, under the motto of harmony, equality, and fairness, the land transfer agreement of Saifang Town is to be conducted. After that, he took out the remaining item. It turned out to be a guide map. He exclaimed in surprise, "A map too? Not bad. Not only is there a house, but also land and even a fish pond. It seems that this time the profession of our Lin Ke is indeed a great deal." Fast forward to the next morning, at the villa of Lin Ke and Jai King Ren, breakfast was fully laid out. The dining table was filled with many delicious dishes looking very appealing. Jai King Ren, seeing this, was very happy and exclaimed, "Whoa, so abundant." She sat down at the dining table, took a bite of bread, and then started a conversation with Lin Ke across from her. "Aren't you live streaming anymore lately?" Upon hearing this, he smiled and replied, "Not anymore, preparing to play something else." While he handed her another piece of bread, she continued to ask, "What do you want to do now?" Suddenly, she seemed to realize something and asked in surprise once again, "Could it be that you want to try another profession this time?" At this point, Lin Ke made a puzzled face and replied, "Actually, it's a bit special." Seeing this hesitant reaction from her boyfriend, Jai King Ren said fiercely, "You're not planning to give massages to women, are you?" This remark truly left him speechless. Immediately, he denied, "What are you thinking? I want to experience a difficult life and understand that farming is not easy at all. Therefore, I plan to work in agriculture." As he spoke, he picked up a piece of bread to eat. Suddenly, Lin Ke wanted to go farming, which surprised King Ren. She said, "Wow, is that real? You want to grow vegetables yourself? Even for a life experience, it doesn't have to be like that." Lin Ke, seeing King Ren worried about him, replied, "A life experience is just a small aspect. The food we eat now is not clean. I want to grow green food just for us to eat." Hearing that his reason for doing this was to take care of both of them, she didn't object much anymore and softly said, "I know you love me. Actually, buying vegetables is quite good. We don't need to grow them ourselves. I don't want you to suffer." At this moment, Lin Ke suddenly put his hand on her head, rubbed it, and smiled as he said, "I know, but for you, I don't mind if I'm tired." This immediately pleased her. Laughing with him, while Lin Ke was eating, Jai King Ren came over and hugged him. She told him, "The first time we met was in the lobby on the first floor of the company when you came to report to the HR department." Suddenly, Lin Ke pushed her away and said, "What do you want to follow me for? There's work at the company. Besides, you won't be able to handle work on the farm." Hearing him say she couldn't do it, she replied, "Why can't I? I can help you water the plants." Seeing her insistently wanting to follow him, Lin Ke laughed and said, "Do you think it's just growing flowers? Watering in agriculture is very different from what you imagine." Even though he had said that, she still clung to him, insisting on going along and happily said, "I want to go anyway. It's not far, just to Saifang Town. We could take some time to go check it out. It'll be great. Ha ha ha. Then I can be with you." At this point, she looked really excited. Suddenly, Lin Ke's phone received a message. The sender was Kai Xiemzhao. He wrote, "Boss Lin, I have finished arranging everything with an error. They plan to negotiate at the Bandao Hotel at 1 p.m. today. They have also invited expert Liang to join the negotiation." After reading the message, Lin Ke smiled and replied, "Okay." The scene shifts to the Bandao Hotel, where Lin Ke is set to negotiate with his business partner. As soon as he entered, Liang Ru Yu, who was in charge as the expert, came over and introduced the partner to him. "Boss Lin, this is the CEO of NR, Mr. Andy." Then she pointed to him and introduced him to Mr. Andy. This young man is a famous entrepreneur from Zhonghai who started with nothing, the CEO of Lang Yun Corporation, named Lin Ke. After during the introduction, Andy politely greeted Lin Ke. "Hello, Mr. Lin." A moment later, everyone sat down at the dining table. The female staff members were serving food and pouring wine for them. Suddenly, Lin Ke looked at the red wine glass in his hand and asked the waiter, "What kind of drink is this?" The staff member holding the wine bottle replied, "Boss Lin, this is a fine wine that our hotel has newly imported." But right after that, he waved his hand to instruct the staff. We are in Huasa. If we don't follow the customs, there is no need to drink wine anymore. Bring out 2 bottles of white wine. That's the essence of Huaxia. Seeing that he was not satisfied, the staff member immediately responded, Yes, 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 I understand, Boss Lin. Then she hurried off to get what he requested. Noticing Lin Qi's strange attitude, Liang Ru Yu couldn't help but feel concerned. She thought the atmosphere was a bit off. Did something happen between Lin Qi and Andy? Just a moment later, the server quickly brought up several bottles of white wine. Seeing this, he said, Pour the wine. She immediately replied, Yes. Then she carefully poured the wine into his glass. After pouring the wine, Liang Ru Yu picked up her glass and stood up. She cheerfully said, CEO of Mr. Andy, I toast to you. I wish for a successful collaboration this time. I also hope to invest more in Zhonghai. On the other side, Andy also stood up and happily responded, Thank you, Expert Liang. I am looking forward to this collaboration. Just as they were about to clink glasses to celebrate, Lin Qi suddenly stopped Liang Ru Yu's hand. He said to her, Don't drink this glass, let me drink it with him. Mr. Andy could not refuse either. He continued to smile, even praising Lin Qi's talent at that moment. Mr. Lin, you are the greatest scientist I have ever met. To have independently researched and developed the 3.0 chip, I toast to you, hoping that we can collaborate successfully. Then they clinked glasses together, but before they could even take a sip, Lin Qi expressed his displeasure by saying, If you want to sit at the same table as me, I'm afraid that's not possible, as your status is insufficient. Seeing him like this, his smile immediately vanished. He said, Mr. Lin, I came here with sincerity. Therefore, I hope you can also show such sincerity. Only then can this collaboration be possible. After hearing this, Lin Qi smiled and replied, Old man, do you think I need this collaboration? Next, Lin Qi suddenly brought up the past between the two of them. Or do you think I am someone who forgets quickly, someone who can easily forget about being shot? Hearing this from him, Liang Ru Yu, standing to the side, couldn't help but be surprised. She quietly wondered, Oh my god, hit by bullets? At this moment, the man named Andy suddenly set his drink down on the table. He seriously told him, This time I'm here just to discuss the contract with no other intentions. But at that moment, Lin Qi suddenly picked up his drink and walked over, saying, I already accepted that shot. If you want to compensate me, I would accept. He said that, but could someone like Lin Qi really forgive a person like him? Of course not, because right after that he added, But you dare to play dumb with me here? That's unreasonable. As he spoke, he poured his drink over Andy's head, leaving him stunned. Then he threatened Andy, Your daughter's life is in my hands. Suddenly being humiliated like that, Andy immediately got up and shouted, Oh my god, what are you doing? You're being too rude. At that moment, his bodyguards immediately rushed over to protect their master. Facing this situation, Lin Qi calmly turned to the waiter and instructed, Take Specialist Liang away. Once she left, Lin Qi felt relieved and turned to face Andy. He called out to him, Hey, old man. Then he rolled up his sleeves again. At this point, Lin Qi no longer showed any signs of restraint. The way he looked was no different from someone preparing to fight those people. He said angrily, I already know about your issues with Quang Hat Company. Is it worth it to exchange 24% of your shares for the lives of you and your son? On the other side, Andy was still drying his hair with a towel. Even though the situation was as it was, he still wanted to salvage the deal and said, I arranged for someone to attack you. I will compensate you for this. Please believe my sincerity. We are all business people. Let's sit down for the sake of profit. But for Lin Qi, it was not easy to overlook this. He gritted his teeth and replied, I am someone who has a grudge that must be settled. Do you think I would resolve this with you for a little money? Realizing that he had no intention of cooperating anymore, Andy finally revealed his true colors. He immediately ordered his subordinates to rush forward. Instantly, several bodyguards charged at Lin Qi, intending to take him down. A group of people immediately blocked the way, ready to attack. Lin Qi looked at them with disdain and said, Is this all the people you have? The one leading, who was also the tallest and strongest, ordered the others, Step back and protect Mr. Andy. Without waiting, he grabbed a nearby beer bottle and smashed it down on the guy's head, causing glass shards to scatter everywhere. Immediately, blood began to flow from that head. He grimaced and used his hand to cover the wound to hold on. Just a second later, he swung a punch forward. You brat, try to bear this. Lin Qi quickly defended himself, and then that big guy jumped up with momentum. But to his eyes, everything seemed too normal. Lin Qi kicked out, sending his opponent flying far away. Andy watched as his best subordinate lay collapsed on the floor, unable to hide his panic. This person is so terrible, my bodyguards have all been knocked down. He stuffed his hands into his pockets and leisurely walked over. With a sinister smile on his face, he softly said, Is there anyone else coming? Andy immediately trembled and broke into a sweat. No, don't come here. Lin Ki showed no mercy, grabbing the hair of the man in front of him, causing him to grimace. Andy was held by the head, forced to face the threatening gaze. The man in front of him quietly asked, "What do you think should be done about this now?" At that moment, knowing he could no longer resist, he immediately pleaded for negotiations. "Don't hit me. I can give you 11% of my shares in exchange for the technology of the 3.0 chip." Lin Ki's expression remained tense and his tone was extremely unpleasant. "If it weren't for that gunshot, I would agree to negotiate with you." He stared intently at the middle-aged man, gently threatening, "Guess what will happen to your stock price if I catch the assassin you hired?" Andy immediately knelt down, full of cowardice, raising both hands as if to surrender, hurriedly explaining, "I don't have the shares of Cat Kwong." The blue-eyed man was filled with fear, looking up at the person in front of him, trembling as he continued, "If you asked them to offer 24% of the shares in exchange for chip technology 3.0, they won't agree." Receiving such information, Lin Ki was not satisfied at all, throwing the man down to the floor and ordering, "I know, you handle this yourself, but my requirement cannot be lower than 11%. I hope you can manage it properly." Andy tried to sit up, rubbing his poor head, obediently agreeing, "I can give it a try." The young man's hand rested on the middle-aged man's shoulder, his attitude more amiable than before. "Cooperate with me soon, it will save us both some trouble, won't it?" Lin Ki smiled cunningly. His words seemed to put pressure on the other party. "But I hope this cooperation proceeds quietly. Think it through and then tell me I hope you can cooperate and avoid any nonsense." With that, he opened the door and left. As soon as he went outside, he encountered Liang Ruyu. She firmly grabbed his shirt and quickly linked arms, requesting, "Come with me." The two hurriedly entered another room. Ruyu gently helped him sit down on a chair. The next moment, she immediately wanted to take off Lin Ki's clothes. Lin Ki, startled, hurriedly asked, "What do you want to do?" Ruyu quickly pulled off his black shirt, revealing the injury on Lin Ki's shoulder. She attentively inquired, "Where are you hurt?" But seeing the person beside him in such a hurry and worried, Lin Ki quickly grabbed the collar and waved his hand, answering, "I'm fine." Ruyu seemed to be irritated by this, her tone rising. "That's not acceptable. You have to let me see." Her hands continued to do what she wanted, making the wound visible again, causing him to panic. The girl who was in a rush just now suddenly turned into a frightened beauty, covering her mouth with red-rimmed eyes filled with grievance, saying, "Those people are really too much." Ruyu took out her phone, wanting to deal with those who had touched her boyfriend, intending to handle them strictly. He sat beside her, Lin Ki quickly buttoning up his shirt, watching his girlfriend angered because of him. He comforted her. "I've already dealt with it. Don't worry." Fearing that she might not believe him, he gently continued, "Andy almost got scared to death by me. Just let him live a few more years. I still need him to help me with work." Ruyu tugged at his shirt, playfully blaming him. "This is also your fault. You went filming some game show instead of staying in Zhonghai. If one day you research a laser engraving machine, it would be dangerous for you to just travel abroad." Her face also flushed with worry. "Who knows, it might get you killed." Lin Ki raised 3 fingers to swear in order to reassure his girlfriend. Okay, I understand. I won't wander around anymore." He relaxed back into the sofa and continued, "I only have a little reputation in Zhonghai. Nobody will recognize me abroad. No one will even care about me." Ruyu seemed to be sulking, turning away and ignoring him, her tone unhappy. A person's talent cannot be decided by money. But now we are in the age of science and technology. Influence of scientists is even greater than that of money. Seeing that the person in front of him was more worried than he was, Lin Ki gently stroked her shiny hair. "Be careful. Don't worry, I have my own plans." In the moment of burning love, the voice of a subordinate abruptly interrupted. "Boss Lin, Mr. Andy wants to see you." He replied with great satisfaction. "Not bad, that old man thinks quickly." He lifted Ruyu's chin and smiled, which made her blush. The two quickly made their way to the meeting room. As soon as Andy saw Lin Ki and Liang Ruyu approaching, he hurriedly stood up to report, "Mr. Lin, we have finished negotiating on our side." He sincerely recounted the results of the negotiation. They agreed to take 12% of the optical lithography shares in exchange for the 3.0 chip technology in your hands. Feeling that he had achieved his goal, Lin Ki relaxed his facial muscles. "Okay, have your people contact me. The details can be handled by you guys." Thus, the discussion ended. That group gradually moved towards the exit to leave. While Liang Ruyu was still dazed, his hand wrapped around her slim waist and he said, "Call your mother." The beautiful girl's face looked confused as she pressed the phone while asking, "Why are you calling my mom?" As soon as she finished speaking, the person on the other end picked up. Liang Ruyu's clear voice immediately spoke up. Mom, Lin has something he wants to say to you. She quickly handed the phone to her boyfriend. Lin Qi took it and obediently asked the other party, I have 12% of the shares of Guank in my hands. Does Aunt Shen want to do anything with it? Mother Lang, Ru Yu was pleased and praised him. You've done well. His voice continued to resonate. I'll carefully explain more, but leaving the shares with me isn't really suitable. So how about Aunt Shen handles it? Shen Shu Yi listened intently to every word, then nodded in response. To be honest, I can't accept the gift you gave me, but this matter is very important, so I cannot decline. Seeing that the other party had agreed, Lin Qi's attitude became very cheerful. Then it's settled. After everything is handled, I'll call you again. With that, he hung up immediately. Ru Yu, who had been listening on the side, spoke up. You must be angry and blaming your boyfriend. Lin Qi, you're being unreasonable. You took shares to cooperate with my mom. What do you mean by that? But before she could stay angry for long, the other person cleverly pressed his lips against hers, and her small mouth fell silent. Lin Qi flashed a mischievous smile and quickly explained, I was scared that if I gave them to you, you would want to go back to Yanjing. I just want you by my side and not go anywhere. Faced with such sweet words, Liang Ru Yu's cheeks turned bright red. How annoying. In the evening, the villa was brightly lit. Lin Qi, feeling exhausted, rubbed his neck as he walked in and let out a sigh. He quickly plopped down on the couch. A slender, fair hand rested on his shoulder. Jia Qingren gently inquired from behind. Are you very tired? He touched her hand, smiled, and asked, Is the company busy right now? The beautiful girl in the silk dress walked around the couch and approached Lin Qi, leaving him mesmerized. King Ren sat on his lap, her arm draped around his neck, sincerely reporting, The new year is coming soon. It's not busy at all. We have already completed the summaries. He gently supported his girlfriend, his gaze filled with affection as he looked at her softly and asked for her opinion. I'm planning to go to Saifang Town tomorrow to see how things are there. Do you have time? Hearing this, King Ren was as happy as a mother returning from the market, her beautiful face lighting up as she responded. I do. I have everything prepared, just waiting for today. Like a little girl, she immediately ran upstairs, leaving Lin Qi stunned and unable to process all the information.